Well, Bernard Schroeder and fail fast or win big. And actually, man, you're just such a delight to talk to because you're the first expert in business consultant that seems to say, just get out there and fail, man. That's the only thing you have to worry about is just getting out there and fail because that's the way you're going to learn, huh?
Well, I think, I think the more you touch customers and the more you move out there, the more you learn. When you're not doing something, you're not learning. And, speaking from experience, having built a company, having helped a lot of other companies, I mean, I was there in the early days of Amazon, the early days of Yahoo. You think they had it together? You think they had it right? They just ran like hell. And after seeing this for a number of years and watching entrepreneurs behave that way, that's the message I'm pushing to, anybody that'll listen.
So in other words, you're saying nobody really knows what the hell they're doing anyway. So your guess is as good as anybody else out there, and go out and do it without a lot of downside. Because it seems like now with crowdfunding and things, there's not a whole lot of downside of trying anything nowadays.
Well, exactly, Matthew. If you look at, the e-commerce tools that are available for $30 a month, if you look at, food carts you can rent, if you look at, you show me, a business model unless somebody's making something insane, and I'll show you how to get that product close to the market for very little money and probably very little time.
So anybody with a couple $100 could be an entrepreneur and test their idea, get customers, get money, instead of spending a whole lot of time developing this business plan that will be in the Smithsonian someday or whatever the hell it's going to happen, right?
I have some students that throw up websites on the weekends. They don't even have the product. They see if they can get orders. If they get orders, then they scramble to find the product.
Yeah.
They're just testing. They're constantly testing. And if they get onto something, then they'll turn it into a business.
Right. No, and that's to me the key of what our society is now with the internet. You can't do that. I mean, if you want to sell something, you don't have to go down and rent a retail store in downtown Detroit or whatever for any of that. You can just go on for $100 on the web and start seeing if you could sell it, and then figure it out from there.
Or if you might have the world's next best food bar, go sell it at a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Go sell it somewhere where you can. $25 a table. You're talking to customers. They're giving you feedback on your product. That might lead to something else.
So your students now at San Diego there are really all into this. You have oh boy, that's.
Sorry.
Is that your investment advisor calling?
Yeah. That's definitely my phone ringing, and I don't want it to.
That's okay. But you run an entrepreneurship center down at the University of San Diego there, right?
That's correct. I'm the director of the Lavin Entrepreneurship Center.
And so now young people you see all the time, I mean, this is what I think that particularly older people don't realize how easy it is to do. Young people know the internet a little bit better than an old fart would, right? And
yeah, you'd be surprised how many people I meet in the community that are in that 40 to 60 range. They're a little bit disappointed, with where they've gone in their career. And they're leaning in and learning some of these new tools and testing, because the one thing they have, they have some knowledge and experience. And when they see some of these new tools and they realize how quickly they can move, it's kind of fascinating to watch them as well.
And it doesn't take you don't need a PhD in engineering to learn how to do any of this stuff. They're making it real easy with platforms and things like that to figure out all this stuff out.
No, you just need to figure out what crowd to run in. The campus is crazy because there's kids that are coding and cooking and making stuff all over the campus. They're just looking for experience. They don't want equity. Sometimes they don't even want money. They just want the ability to build stuff. And even in the community, if you fall into some of these new incubators or these new co-location facilities, the rent's free. There's other people that you're meeting. You just got to put yourself out there.
Yeah. No, and I believe it. And to me, what's great about this, again, at any age, I mean, we all seem to have jobs, that work in big bureaucracies that nobody cares about you, and you're working your heart out. You're lucky if once a year the boss gives a nice job or something. And boy, you put something on the internet, it costs you $50 to do it, and you got 300 people saying you're great. I mean, nothing could be better than that.
It's interesting. I gave a talk the other day on the campus, and it was just some MBA students. And, they're just the typical MBA students looking at me like, what's this guy got for me?
Yeah.
And I said, look, here's the deal. How long do you think you're going to live? And they're looking at me and they're like, well, I think we're going to live into our 80s. I go, with parts, you're probably going to live into your hundreds. I go, so here's the deal. You got a 60-year, 50-year runway ahead of you. What are you going to do that's fun and fascinating? Because you'll always have your day job. I don't care. You weren't born to be a lawyer. You weren't born to be an accountant. So let's say you can do that. Okay, great. And let's say you can do an environment you like. Okay, great. But if it's an environment you don't like and you want to create your own firm, if you fail, you can go back to being the accountant or the lawyer for somebody else. So what's your downside? There is no downside. It's just
you can always get another job you hate, right?
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a job you hate. It's maybe a job you don't love.
Exactly. Well, to me, if it's not what you love, then you have to be thinking about something else.
Well, you're settling, and I don't know why people settle. It's a fascinating thing. Most people in the world seem to settle.
Yeah. And I guess it's because we get trapped up in stuff we got, and we worry we can't get rid of it. So that's why to me the key in starting out, I think, man, just keep that overhead low, then you're more flexible than ever, and it doesn't take much to do.
We'll all read these articles in the Wall Street Journal and wherever about the millennial generation, right? And they're not good communicators. They're ADD. They're this. They're that. They're self-absorbed. Here's what I love about them and why they might be, the #1 generation of entrepreneurs in this country. 1, they are ADD. I like that. 2, they don't see themselves working for anybody for more than 3 years. 3, they don't need a car. They'll use Uber.
Absolutely.
4, they don't want a house. They'll use Airbnb. They want to live now. And I love that because that intensity of not wanting to surround themselves with the accoutrement of the 80s, let's say, lends itself to a little bit of freedom, a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of opportunity for risk. I actually believe they will be the most entrepreneurial generation.
I believe the tools are out there for them to do it, and there's ways of making extra money to survive while you're doing these things like it never has before. I
agree. There's never been
now
a time
you could
like
drive
this.
a cab for Uber and make 90 grand instead of a cab company making 30 or something like that.
Or create the next Uber, whatever the next Uber is. It's kind of fascinating. I mean, it's leverage, right? I remember when I first saw Zipcar and Car2Go, the car rental services come into market. You just knew that there were 3 guys and a dog, sitting somewhere going, how do we do a transportation business with no cars? And one of them goes, we leverage all the cars that are out there.
Exactly.
And Uber's born, right? And Uber essentially is a mobile application. At the end of the day, boil it all down. It's just
it's what, a couple hundred people, and they have a value of $10 billion now.
It's crazy.
That's the same as Avis and Hertz together.
Without buying a car.
No cars, no people, no nothing, just a platform. And the rest of us get a deal in life.
That's the leverage today.
I know.
That is the leverage.
It's so exciting. That's why people say, oh, everything's new, man, nothing works anymore. Yeah, thank God. All that stuff that worked isn't worth working anymore. And there's new ways.
Disruptive. Whether we want it to be disruptive or not, it's all being disrupted. And so that's the real opportunity. I don't care if someone does not have an idea. All they have to do is look at a marketplace they care about or a population segment they care about and just look for the disruption. Because it's happening everywhere.
Absolutely.
No one's, look at what's going on with watching things online.
Right.
It's completely disruptive.
What happened to those 3 networks?
I tell you, I met with somebody the other day and they were talking about a strategy for local TV. And I was like, I honestly don't know what the strategy is for local TV.
Who knows? I don't know anybody, but certainly makes it more cost efficient to do something like that than ever before.
Yes. The amount of money that you'd have to risk to get feedback from the market is potentially so small.
Exactly. So anything. So who knows? We're all guessing. We're all scared as hell and have no idea what we're doing. So just get out there and do something and fail fast or win big, right? And to find you, Bernie, we go to BernieSchroeder.com.
That's correct.
BernieSchroeder.com. Right.
That's it.
Nice to chat with you. And, believe in everything you're saying. Nice you're there and guiding people on a better path than all these fat cats are trying to get us to do.
I appreciate what you're doing as well. It's a pleasure talking to you.